Welcome to this week's Chart Insights covering key indices and sectors. I'm Vishal Subban, Head of Trading Education at Mirai Asset Sharekhan. Let us begin. All right, let's start with the monthly chart of the Nifty. And as we can clearly see that we see this demand level on the monthly chart. The levels are 24,687 to 24,301. There is no supply zone on the monthly chart. So let's move on to the weekly chart now. On the weekly chart, we saw last week the price did come and test this level of demand, indicating that price is showing its intention to move to the upside and eventually make all-time highs. If you go on to the daily chart, we are seeing a price nicely reacting to this gap level of demand from 25,691 to 25,316. And now we see a new level of demand being also created, which is from this area, which is 25,860 to 25,692. Any pullback into this area indicating that price is likely to move up. So it's very likely that we might see potential all-time highs coming in after a little bit of consolidation to the sideways. We will most probably see price making all-time highs. Let's move on to the next chart. We are going to look at the Nifty bank levels now. Let's start off with the monthly chart first. If you look at the monthly chart, this is the closest monthly level of demand from current market price, 54,646 to 53,481. If we move on to the weekly chart, we see a level of demand which is still intact, 57,859 to 57,159 odd levels. And on the daily chart, we are seeing price consolidating in this area over here. Now, what is interesting to see is that we do see a gap level. And just like how Nifty's gap is playing out, we still haven't revisited Bank Nifty gap yet. So currently, Bank Nifty is now playing out from this area, which is 58,000 to 58,646. Seems like market is consolidating here. If the market does consolidate and if there is a little bit of strength coming in from the other indices such as Nifty and the Sensex, then we might see Bank Nifty also pushing and making all-time highs again, close to around 60,000 odd levels. Let's move on to the next index now. We are going to be looking at the Nifty Mid Cap Select. So let's look at the Nifty. So let's start off with the monthly chart on the Mid Cap Select. So you will notice that major sectors and the indices as well as the charts are showing similar levels on the monthly chart. So we have 12,843, 12,455 on the Mid Cap Select monthly chart. Let's move on to the weekly level. On the weekly, we have 13,484 to 13,244 as a fresh level. We did see a strong reaction coming from this level. If we move on to the daily chart, very similar to the Nifty, we saw a nice reaction coming from this daily level of demand, 13,561 to 13,442. And right now, we are sitting in this area of supply on the mid cap. Now, what is going to be interesting is whether the supply zone is going to hold or whether it's most likely to break. And that is what the overall market sentiment is going to decide. What it seems like right now, we might see a little bit of a corrective move. Markets might tend to move sideways before eventually giving the breakout to the upside. So if Nifty and Sensex and all other indices move to the upside, it's most likely that Nifty mid cap will also tend to move to the upside. Let's look at the Nifty Financial Services indices now. And if you look at the Nifty Financial Services on the monthly chart, again, a very similar level, just like Nifty and Bank Nifty, 26,000 to 25,471. If we move on to the weekly chart, we have a level of demand a little bit below here. And then if we go on to the daily chart, we see a very obvious level of demand located at 27,278 to 27,070. In most indices, there is no clear supply zone on the chart. So in eventual circumstances, we might see price coming down, maybe reacting from this level. and eventually making all-time highs on the financial services indices also. Let's shift now our focus from the Nifty indices to the currency, which is USD INR. And I don't need to say much about this, but the way the USD INR is moving is just moving and heading up, and most likely it is likely to hit the 91 handle very, very soon. What this probably also indicates is that we might have um, a little bit of a pressure on the Nifty, which might probably bring the Nifty, you know, down, or it might consolidate to the sideways. But if you look at now, we have a fresh level of weekly demand, which is this rally-based rally, and this rally-based rally of demand is eventually moving to the upside, right? So the price action is suggesting to the upside. If you look at the daily chart, we see this drop base rally level of demand, and this drop base rally level of demand is most likely to play in case if the price retraces back to this level. So in the near term, in case if there is any eventual reaction coming on the USD INR, that will probably indicate that Nifty is more likely to move to the upside. All right, let's quickly have a look at the India VIX. Right. So if you look at the India VIX is in a daily level of demand. 10.30 to 9.57 is the key level of demand. And we have a supply zone from where price has reacted nicely. Now we are seeing a little bit of a selling pressure on the VIX, but this demand is quite intact. So now any increase in the India VIX will definitely put a little bit pressure on the Nifty. So in the coming days, it's more likely to see how the India VIX reacts and how the indices then react eventually to this India VIX move to the upside. All right, so pretty much this is it from me for this week. I hope you enjoyed the analysis, and if you do like our channel, hit the like button and hit the subscription button. See you all next week. Bye-bye.
This should not be treated as a recommendation. Please conduct your own analysis or consult a financial advisor before investing.